Hi, if you don't know me, my name's Maggie and Queen's Road Baptist Church is home for me. A couple of things you may or may not know about me. I'm married to Paul, we have 4 children, 4 grandchildren and another on the way. Other things you should know about me is that I'm a huge Wonder Woman fan as well as Marvel superheroes, and I've driven a Formula 3 racing car as well. You also need to know that not an hour goes past without me drinking tea. But today I want to share with you a passion that's always been a part of my life. I work for ACTS, that's Active Christianity in Thanet Schools. And my passion is to talking Jesus to as many of those children and young people in our Thanet schools as I can. Since October last year, I've been on tour around Thanet churches preaching and talking about my work of talking Jesus. In advance of October last year, I started researching the state of the church in the UK. The verses of scripture that have sat in my heart for decades rang in my ears as I researched. Romans 10 verses 14 and 15 say, "How then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news." Those verses, echoing Isaiah 52, have been a wonderful thread running through my life since I was 14, but more so in recent decades. In my research, I came across the Talking Jesus report. The report was born out of a partnership between Alpha, the Evangelical Alliance, Hope Together, Louis Palau Association, and Kingsgate Community Church, and it shows the state of faith in the UK. Also how people come to faith in Jesus and how we, as the church, can talk about Jesus more effectively with our family, our friends, and in our community. If you've heard me speak in church, you will have already heard me quote some of the statistics of this report, but I'd like to bring to your attention another of the statistics that highlights the need and importance for us all to be talking Jesus. One of the statistics that is a huge encouragement to us is that 1 in 3 non-Christians, after a conversation with a Christian, want to know more about Jesus. Just the smallest of mentions of Jesus when you talk to others inspires them, those that don't know him, to want to know more about him. For me, in my day-to-day working for ACTS, my passion and our aim is for every child and young person in Thanet to hear something of the gospel from someone who believes it to be true by the time they leave school at 18. Although I was born into a faith-filled home, I had to find Jesus for myself. And at the age of 11, I clearly remember the moment when I understood for the first time that Jesus died for me. When I'm talking about ACTS work, I always stress that stats that the Talking Jesus report shares of how around 75% of practicing Christians came to faith by the age of 18, and it drives me on. In 2 Corinthians 5 verse 20 it says, "We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us." It doesn't say ministers or vicars, church leaders, children's workers or schools workers. It says we, meaning all of us that know Jesus have the responsibility to talk Jesus to others. The verses I have mentioned and the finding of the report have challenged me to talk Jesus outside of my working day in schools too. Since the pandemic, there have often been times when I've not had time to go home between working in different schools. So I've started popping into Costa with my laptop and working whilst I drink tea and wait for opportunities to talk Jesus. I've had lots of little moments with the Costa staff to talk about my work. I'm gradually getting to know them, and it's bringing moments into my day to talk Jesus. I don't know where the conversations will lead or what the impact will be, but it feels right and it challenges me to be talking Jesus outside of my work in schools. I like to think that the Jesus I know and have read about would be hanging out in a coffee shop, a supermarket, a library, the bus stop, the school gates, the office, or the places that we find ourselves in every day, so that he could chat to people about their day to day, so that he could be with them in the mundane of life, waiting for them there at every moment. So I try to do the same in some small way, talking Jesus in the day-to-day moments that he gives me. If you want to know more about the Talking Jesus report or Acts, my day-to-day in schools, then have a look at our website or Facebook page. And if you want to know how you can support Acts work or get involved with how we talk Jesus to the children and young people of Thanet, then just get in touch with me about how you can pray and support our work. The challenge I leave with you today, that I give to myself too, is: are you the feet of those who brings good news? And lastly, who will you talk Jesus to today, this week, this month, this year? God bless you as you talk Jesus today.
Well,